Hello, and welcome to the HelloID Provisioning Product Release video for August 2024. HelloID Provisioning is a 100% born in the cloud, easy to configure and maintain user provisioning solution. It helps organizations to fully automate the user lifecycle management by connecting the HR or SIS as a source system. Every change in this source is detected and processed into the network and your cloud applications. No more worries about stale user accounts, accumulation of licenses or access rights, manual user management, or compliancy issues. Please note that this video highlights only the new features in the July 2024 release. For more videos, visit docs.helloid.com or check out our YouTube channel. Let's dive in. We'll start with a PowerPoint presentation before moving on to demonstrate the new functionalities for the August 2024 release. In this release, we're excited to introduce two new features. We start with exporting business rules to a CSV file. This export supports the standard values visible in the grid, as well as the conditions and entitlements configured within the business rule. This feature can be used to see under which business rules a particular group or role is assigned. Additionally, it provides you with a clear insight into how your business rules are structured. As the second new feature, we have expanded our reconciliation report with unmanaged permissions and missing permissions. Unmanaged permissions are memberships of an account that are not managed by HelloID through business rules. Missing permissions are rights that HelloID believes have been assigned, but in reality, no longer exist in the target system. With this expansion, we are moving towards mapping and managing all permissions not handled by HelloID through business rules via another process. We also support actions to clean up or ignore these unmanaged permissions for a specific period. To use these reconciliation features, a HelloID governance module license is required. Let's dive in and explore the new features. Let's start with our first feature, the export of business rules. We are logged into provisioning and then navigate to business and then rules. Here, we can press the export button. When we click on it, it means we are exporting the rules that are configured here. We'll get all the data you see here, plus some extra details, which I'll show you shortly, in a CSV file. As soon as you click the Export to CSV button, a download starts. We can now see the data that comes out. Here you can see, among other things, the name of the business rule, how many entitlements it contains, and the number of people who came out during the last evaluation. So note, if an evaluation was done some time ago, this number might be different from what you see in the UI. The category that is added to the business rule. Under the status, it can happen that the business rule appears twice, both as publisher and draft. And that is because there can be two different variants, and we like to show both. So if you only want to see what is actually published, what is used in enforcement, you should look at the status publish here. Next, we can see the conditions, which is the extra information I just mentioned. Here you can see the person active, and I filter on a title, Global Identity Administrator, and finally the entitlements. Here you can see which entitlements are configured, which are account access, and memberships that are configured. Note that this list can become quite long. However, it is neatly separated with a pipe character, so you can distinguish between the different entitlements or conditions. Be aware that if you use a pipe character in one of the values, you might think it's a separate entitlement or condition, but it's just part of the title. Keep this in mind when you make an export. Let's move on to the next feature, which is under the heading Reconciliation, and you can find it under Business and Reconciliation. As you can see here, I have already done a reconciliation report, which you can create by clicking Create Report. Note that you need the governance module for this feature, which is currently still in beta. I have already created a report, and the first difference we see with the previous release is that everything is sorted. So we have sorted all accounts and persons by name. This is because we often have permission alongside the unmanaged account. And this way, you can clearly see that everything is grouped together. So with Ammon and Knight, you see that the permissions that fall under it, such as permission unmanaged, are neatly grouped together. We will also see this in the exclusions. Next, we have two new issues, which are permission unmanaged and permission missing. Let's start with permission unmanaged. This means that a permission for an account exists, in this case, in an Active Directory, but it is not managed by HelloID. So the right is not granted by HelloID. As you can see here, all employees is assigned to Alexander Diaz in Active Directory, but we do not manage it in HelloID. We can take action on this. Initially, we can see what actions are available. You'll see that we can resolve the issue, which means that for this report, it's marked as resolved. When the next reconciliation runs, it will come back. We can also exclude the issue for a specific period. We have the choice of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years. This means if I select the coming 3 years, it won't appear in this report. And after 3 years, you would have to review it again to see if the permission is still valid. And of course, if we want to clean it up, we have the Remove Permission function. Be aware that once you have done this, the membership is really gone, and you can't just roll it back. Of course, you can manually assign it again, but it is really gone. This action is performed within Active Directory. Additionally, another option is to modify the rules. Or maybe you want to manage this, and you can modify one of the rules to see which rules contain this right. So in all these rules, this right is granted, and you can, for example, change the scope of the role by clicking this button. This way, you can quickly go to the rule and apply changes there. If you perform something from Active Directory, you can see it here in the logging. At this moment, I haven't done anything yet, but if I, for example, remove the permission, then, of course, I get a pop-up. Are you sure? Yes, I am sure. And click Remove Permission. Then you see that it has started, and in the logging, I can see that it has been successfully removed. It is immediately applied in Active Directory and is resolved or removed. You can also see here that the resolve is checked. You can also filter out the resolved items from the report, so you only have the list left that you still need to resolve. Another important aspect is that you can also see here if the associated account is currently excluded. In this case, Alexander Diaz is already in exclusions. So if I go to exclusions, I would see Alexander Diaz's account as an exclusion here. And this way, you can easily see in the report that it is excluded. So there might be a greater chance to choose the excluded issue instead of removing permission. But you can decide that yourself. Another change is when doing an excluded issue with account unmanaged. We now have the option to also disable the associated permissions that are currently unmanaged. You can specify, exclude these permissions for the account that I want to exclude for 1 year, but also exclude the permissions for 1 year, so they are grouped together as a package. This makes it easier to manage. As we mentioned earlier, we had 2 new issues. The other is permission missing. We will filter on that now. Permission missing means that we do manage this right for this account through HelloID, but we think it has been granted in HelloID, and there is a granted entitlement, but this group match no longer exists for this account in Active Directory. We can then click Add Permission, and it assigns it in Active Directory. What we can also do, suppose we really want to enforce the HelloID state. What you set in your business rules, you can go to your configuration Active Directory and automatically add permissions again. This means that when the report is generated, and we see that you have missing permissions, we will automatically assign them, so you don't need to approve them in the report. You can choose whether to do it semi-automatically or fully automatically. What else have we changed? We have applied sorting and exclusions so that everything sorted here, the account and permissions, are grouped together, making it easy to maintain an overview. We can demonstrate this. So if I go to my report and set account unmanaged, here we have Ada Schroeder, and we are going to exclude her. We do this for 6 months, and I also indicate that I want to exclude my permissions. You will see that in exclusions, Ada Schroeder's account plus 2 associated permissions are now excluded until February 2025. Here you have a nice overview and can easily view and search for specific accounts. At the top, you can also search by accounts and filter by different systems. As we conclude this overview of the latest HelloID release, we hope you're as excited as we are about these enhancements and new features. They're designed to streamline your experience, improve security, and ensure your system's integrity with advanced configurations and mappings. Stay tuned for more updates, and thank you for choosing HelloID for your identity and access management needs.